Am I live? It's not saying anything. Oh. Ben, just before you go, it says that I'm not just here. You're all right, no one can see you. But I am. Oh, okay. Betsy, hi Betsy. How are you? I at least I'm not talking to myself. It's just me and you, Betsy, for now. What's it like where you are, Betsy? We've got a lovely day here. Um, for a change, lovely weather. I bet it's too warm where you are, isn't it? Taking a break from work. Lunch, afternoon break, tea break or coffee break? It feels really weird. It feels because I was like so busy last night and tonight. Yes, very hot lunch break. Oh, yes. It is here, Betsy. It's really close and sticky and yucky. We don't have that kind of dry heat that you get when you go on holiday. It's awful here. Yuck. So I'll give it a couple of more minutes, see if anyone else joins, um, and then I'll get on with the rest of the album. So if you remember, this is where we got to. It will be 95 degrees today. Oh my gosh. No. Tracy, hi Tracy. Welcome. We thought it was just going to be me and Betsy. But it's nice to see someone else. Oh, thank you very much, Betsy. Um, so I was just about, well, we were just saying, Tracy, Betsy's obviously said it's hot there. It's quite warm here as well and a bit sticky. What's it like where you are? Um, I do. I complain when it's too hot. I complain when it's too cold. Just look at this. Just look at all those fingerprints over my desk. Shall we do a little bit of cleaning while we're waiting? Let's give my mat a good clean before we start, shall we? Um, there we go. Just don't realise until you get that light on it. You've got all those fingerprints on there. Right. Done my cleaning. Let me just move my mouse so I don't accidentally knock it. Right, so we might as well get started. I can always catch anyone else up if they join in a little bit. So this is part 3. My glass mat. I love this glass mat because it says lefty, so I can do all my sort of mucky inking and stuff on that side, and then not get my stuff dirty on this side. So yeah, it's my Tim Holtz one. I love it. Is it really sad that I really love my glass mat? So yes, so this is part 3. There's probably going to be a part 4, which next week will probably be on my page, because I don't think we're going to get it absolutely finished today. But what we did so far is, we open it up and you've got that lovely gatefold. We're going to work on this side today. But if I bring this across, so this is what we sort of did last time. So I've got this lovely sort of free falling envelopes there that you can be popping stuff into. And then I just, one of the stencils from this collection, I just used some of my glitter paste and a couple of just the little toppers from the topper pads. So let's tie that back up. And then what I've done is I've just added some corners here. So with all this textured cardstock that I've been using, that's going to run all the way through this, I literally just cut some, I'm going to say squares, but some rectangles. So there was 1.5 inch by 1 inches. And then I just cut them in half and I just added that onto the corners. And then this is, let me stand it up for you to see this bit. You can see it better. So this is the one that sort of comes and concertinas out. So you've got that lovely, again, just a different page. And then what I've done with it is on the front, I've just added a little pocket just by cutting my pattern paper in half. And then on the backs of each, it's a little bit, oh, have I glued that one? I haven't, it's just stuck a little bit. On the backs of each, I've just, again, these are the stamps from this collection that I've used, just cut out a square with my nesting dies and then popped that in. So you're going to have that on the backs of each of these. So if we go back this way, you can see on the back of each, I've popped a little window where you can sort of have a photo or anything like that in there. And then on this side, just a couple of the pieces of pattern paper just to fold open so you can have whatever it is that you are making this memory album for. And then on the back of that one, I just added two sort of very simple envelope pockets. But the mat or the pattern paper that I've matted on top of the pocket, I've also just glued around the edges as well. So you've got two pockets here and you've got two pockets there as well, again, to store things in. Now, this is the one that I wasn't sure how to close it last week. So if I just open it up, because it stands up. So when you stand your album up, this was dropping open. So all I've done is I've just added one little strap there and it keeps it closed. But when it opens, so it's going to open like that. You've got a little tag that you can pop there and these just pop open like that. So lifting that back. So it obviously, it stands up. So you can pop a little tag in there and we haven't glued this down. So it's a pocket there as well. And then that's it. We just did those three last week. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to go onto this side. We're going to move onto this side. So quite a few of you messaged me and asked about popping a box on that side. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to create a nice little box on that side instead. So let's just pop that to the side. And I'm going to bring in some bits. My instructions written typical Michelle way, where no one else can read them or understand what I've put. So yeah, so I've got lots of bits. So we're going to create a box on the other side of that. So let me just get into some sort of order. Right, so let's pop those there. I want to open it back up just so you can see. So I think I'm going to pop it on this side. So what I've got is I've got some mount board. Now you can do it with just normal card if you want, but I thought it just makes the box that I want to do, it's going to make it stronger if I'm using mount board. So I'm going to have my base here. I've got the side here and then I've got the top there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these and it's going to be one of those boxes that opens up and then we're going to put a box on the inside. So let me just pop these to the side. And then, so what I'm going to do is it's very much like, let me just move my scissors to this side because it's so big. Every time I open it, I'm knocking everything off my desk. So box base, box lid, that's going to be that side and it's going to be one that opens and closes. Now, because this is getting glued onto the base of my box, I don't need to worry about fully covering it. So it's almost like as if we was going to create an album. Let me turn that round. There we go. So I've cut it to 7 3/4 high by 7.5 wide. And the same with this, 7 3/4 high. And I think I've done it 1 3/4 wide because that side of my album has got a 2-inch gap. So that's why I've made this that little bit smaller. So we're sort of going to cover it like we would an album, but a little bit different. So I've got my lovely piece of pattern paper here, but what we're going to do is I'm going to use this to wrap around to um, glue, attach all these together, but not in sort of a traditional album way. Um, Gaz, you're late. You're awful. You are awful. No, you're not. Of course you're not. I'll let you be late because I'm late for everything. So what I've done is, if you can see, I've cut it just that tiniest little bit short so I can just see a little bit of white round the edges. So this is 7 3/4 high, and I've literally just cut a sliver off of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to my top piece first. So because I'm not wrapping it round the sides or anything like that, because I've got this lovely white mount board and it's white all the way through, I don't need to cover it up if I don't want to. It can be more like a box than an album cover. So I'm just looking for my glue. My big bottle. So we'll just move those to the side. So we're going to glue it on the top. So glue everywhere. I didn't think I'd opened it then. I had to have a shower. The pollen is killing me. Oh, it's terrible. Everyone I know is suffering at the minute with hay fever. Really bad. There must be something new being sown. So let's pop this on the top. Oh. So again, I'm just going to try to leave that tiny little bit of a border on those 3 sides. Give it a good burnish. Just get my scoring tool and then make sure it's all nice and stuffed. There we go. So Betsy, did you? I don't think you joined last night, did you? So you won't have heard my news, or did you join last night? And I'm just forgetting. I have slept since then, so I don't quite remember. Let me know if you did hear my news, or I don't want to be repeating myself when you all are like, yes, I know you told me yesterday, Michelle. So the side piece, we're going to pop it on exactly the same as we do our albums, but remember, I'm not folding top and bottom. So you're roughly leaving that 1/4 of an inch, sort of 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. No, what news? So next week, I'm going to be on Creating Craft TV with some Ciao Bella products. So next Wednesday. So I'm very, very excited about that, as if you can't tell. So let's pop glue on this one. I don't want to go right to the top and bottom because remember that I've got that thin sliver, but I do, and I didn't do it on this one, really want to make sure that that's glued right to the edges. And then pop that down, making sure that I've got a sort of an even space in between both of them. How awesome. Thank you, Betsy. I'm very excited. I'm getting to play with lots of rice papers and MDF. Even I think a little bit of pottery as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to turn it over and make sure that I've got that lovely border at the top and at the bottom. Nanny to the girls. Hi all, I'm late. Had to pick up the car from repairs. That's all right. That's all right. I was just saying I'm late to everything, so I can't say can't say nothing when people are late. So what we're creating is the box for the other side of the album tonight. I'm sort of using my papers to create a wrap box, you know, where you lift the lid and you've got the box inside, and this is going to wrap round. Now, because this one has been glued into the base of my album, and you're not necessarily going to see it, it doesn't matter that I've only got a little bit of this paper left now. So as long as I pop that on nice and straight, this is going to be glued to the bottom, and where you need to see the pattern paper, you're going to see it. So let's pop glue on this bit. And again, try and, I mean, I use my finger, you probably won't want to. So if you've got some sort of glue spreader, anything like that, and then pop that on there, making sure that I've got sort of equal spacings on there. I will watch if I can. Oh, well, it's next Wednesday, Betsy, and I'm on in UK time, 9 o'clock in the morning, and 9 and 1. So 9 o'clock in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon. So I'm not quite sure what time that is for you, if it's really late or really early. So making sure that I burnish really well where these three pieces join, because you don't want any liftage. There we go. So turning that over. So remember, glued into the box or into the album, and this is how it's going to look. So all we need to do now is we're gonna obviously we'll cut some pieces to cover this up. But again, because it's that beautiful white mount board, you can cover it up as much as you want. But see, the edges are just absolutely gorgeous. So if you're using sort of like the grey board, I think you tend to cover it up more. But when you've got white board like this, you can just leave those edges naked, for want of a better phrase, and it still looks lovely. Right, so a box for the middle. So I've already scored my piece. Let's pop this to the side and allow that to really dry. So I've got a piece of card, and it's 11 1/4 by 11 1/4. And I've scored each of my sides. So remember how I said the depth of this was what did I say? Let me double check. 1 3/4. So we've done that. I think I might have done it just a slither. I haven't. I've done it exactly the same. 1 3/4. Sometimes, depending on what you're making them with, if you are wrapping these like an album, it can add. That's 3 a.m., so maybe you won't. Maybe it's something you'll watch on catch up. Let's see. So yes, so if you are wrapping this, it does add extra bulk. So depending on you doing that will depend on whether you need to make your sides, so the height of this, just a tiny little bit shorter. But I don't think we need to. So 11 1/4 by 11 1/4, and I've scored each side 1 3/4. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to score all those sides. Yes, I don't think I'd be getting up or staying up at 3 a.m. Although saying that, that's how I discovered shopping TV and the craft channels when I had Tommy. She obviously the night feeds and things like that. I used to pop the shopping telly on, Create and Craft, even back then, and get obsessed over all the fabulous, because the repeats go all the way through the night. So what was on through the day, you get to see through the night. And that's where my addiction began. And it is an addiction, isn't it? All those pretty things that we can buy. Pop there. Right, so before I glue this closed, what I always tend to do is I will bring this in. I will make sure that it sits inside. I know I've got obviously sides poking out and things like that. And if I'm happy with that, then we can um, commit to the stick. But so I do think I've done mine a little wide. So if I bring this in again and tell you, so it's narrower this way than that way. So I've done 7.5 this way by 7.75 this way. But when I've measured this out, if I fold those in, I've done it 7.75 this way and that way. So what's going to happen is my box is going to poke out over the edge a little bit. Well, but there's a way around that, and I'll show you that. Rather than me cut another one of these out, there's a way around that, and I will show you that in a second. So we're gluing edges, aren't we? So let me just put that pin somewhere that I'm not going to lose it. Creating craft has been around for like hundreds of years. It does feel like it sometimes. It feels like a national institution, doesn't it? It's just sort of always been there. So I think that when I used to watch it through the night, I was watching Nigel May and Stephanie Waitman. It was always Nigel May, Stephanie Waitman, and was it Nancy Watts? Those three were always on together. They were like, it's just always those three, wasn't it? So I'm just going to use my paper clips just to hold these while the glue dries. Which it was quite nice for me because when I was at Hobby Maker and I finally got to meet Nigel May, I told him my story. I says it was you that got me into crafting and helped me through, the postnatal depression. And I think it's nice. He was really touched, but it's nice to be able to meet the people who've maybe helped you through something or you just admire and let them know what they've done for you. Right, so there's my box. Let's just allow that to dry. So again, I'm going to bring this in because I can see that it's poking out over the edge. So when I bring this over, it's not going to quite fit, but it will fit in here because this is the perfect size. So I'm going to pop that. It's going to go into that. Can you just see it fits in there absolutely beautifully? So there's a couple of ways that you can get around it. You can just cut another piece, and the way what you would be doing is you would just be cutting it 1/4 of an inch shorter on one side than on the other. So, so I've cut my piece 11.25 by 11.25 and then scored 1/3 on all four sides. But what I should have done is cut it down to 11 wide by 11.25, sorry, and then scored each side at 1.75. That would have given me a slightly more rectangle box than the perfectly square one that I've got. So I'm going to glue that on there. And it really doesn't matter that it's overhanging on the base because you can't see the base. These should be dry now. But for the top, when I bring that up and bring it round, can you see how it's just not big enough? A few options. We can add a bigger piece of mount board onto the top of this to make it overhang a little bit more. But then what we need to make sure of is that it doesn't overhang too much here. So this is the piece that I'm going to be popping it into. So it still fits. Let me bring that. Those scissors keep getting in my way. So have I missed? Did I see that? Because hello everyone, I came a tad late. What have I missed? You've missed that it's too warm and I've created my box just a little bit too big. So I'm going to show you, instead of just cutting another one, how we can get around it. So my only worry is, let's bring it all together. That's going to sit in there beautifully. We're going to pop that over. So can you see how I've created my box a little bit too big? And I think what I'm actually going to do is, for the sake of that not closing properly, let's see if it closes properly. So it is going to close properly. It's still going to fit, but it's not going to look very nice at the top. So because of that, because that's where you're going to mainly be viewing it from, I'm not going to alter it. I'm just going to cut another one of these pieces out. But what you can do is just bring in a bigger piece of mount board and create it a little bit bigger so it hangs over each side. But I'm not going to, because I want it to look nice and neat from the top. So let's pop that back to the side again. And pop that back to the side. And let me get another piece of card and we'll just cut it. I think it's going to be just as quick, isn't it? So you are going to cut this down to 11 and a quarter of an inch one way and 11 inches the other way. So pop that there and bring my scoreboard in. And then score tool. So 1 3/4 of an inch all the way round. And then that gives you that slight rectangle rather than a square that's just a little bit big on one side. Hannah, sorry, Michelle, I got sidetracked by a new ice cream machine. Oh, an ice cream machine. Well, I don't blame you. I do not blame you at all. So 1 3/4. 1 2 3. Yeah. Couldn't count then. You know, when you look at something and you sort of, the more you look at it, the more wrong it looks. But then it always turns out that it's sort of not. That's what I was doing there. So double checking, it's giving me that 7.5 one way and the 7 3/4 the other way. So it should fit in now. Perfect. Where is my scissors? I moved them, didn't I? Right. So we're nearly back to where we started anyway. I'll blame the heat. I'll blame the heat and the maybe menopause. So fourth side. And then we'll try this one in again. And the thing is, I mean, I'm not going to get rid of that. What I'm going to do now is I'll create another box with a lid that fits. So, you know, it's not going to go to waste. So today was supposed to be the last one. It was sort of supposed to be a 3-part series, but it's definitely going to be a 4-part. So I can either, well, yeah, I'll probably do it live. Next week it'll be on my channel because we sort of did Ciao Bella's YouTube, then mine, then Ciao Bella's, and then we'll do the finishing touches on mine because I've still got a couple of pages to pop in the album side. And I've got some lovely pages that I'd like to do. So we'll pop those in and then probably the finishing of decorating the front next week. So let's try this again. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So now when I bring this up and over, it's going to be perfect. That's bowing a little bit because what I need to do is I need to add a little bit of um, mount board to make that a little bit stronger. But what I'm also going to do is, so this is my ribbon, and I think I'm going to do a ribbon tie enclosure. But what I also want to do is add some ribbon to the edge. So as usual, bear with me while I plug my glue gun in. One of these days I'll remember to do that beforehand. But what I also want to do with this gorgeous ribbon that I found is we're going to edge the top. I might edge the bottom, it just depends how I'm feeling. But what we're going to do is we're going to sort of pleat it. So we're going to put pleats all the way across. So when it's going down the edge, it looks really nice. And I think when you've got these kind of collections, rather than just adding some ribbon onto something, it just doesn't work. I think popping a bit of a bow on there really does it. So we're going to pop that on there down the edge. This is going to get glued in. And then so what I thought we could do, so I've had quite a few different ideas, rather than just having the box open like this. I mean, it's lovely. You've got that lovely box opening. I've just got a few more bits. I thought what we could do is in the middle, we can pop some little dividers. So I know these aren't as tall as the box. So I've got some little dividers. So I've done these, I've cut these just an inch high. I've got another one somewhere. So these are just an inch high, and I'm going to pop some little dividers in there. And then what I thought might be really nice is to get this, I mean, this will need trimming down a little bit, but have a faux top in there. So you will attach something to this and it'll lift it out. But because it's sort of an inch in, you've got sort of this area where you're going to have whatever it is, and then you're going to be able to lift it out. And then again, you've got some lovely compartments. Diane, hi, sorry I'm late. Thought it was starting at 7. Michelle, have you got any sneak peeks of the Dear Santa paper? I don't know where my papers have gone. I'll find them and I'll give you another sneaky peek. In fact, so I don't know if Betsy's still on. I didn't get to I don't think she, obviously not being on yesterday, she didn't see my sneaky peeks of my Christmas collection, did she? Right, so this box, we're going to pop some pattern paper in the bottom, and I'm going to do that before I create the compartments. Again, it's entirely up to you which way you do it. Let me find, so in here somewhere are my 8x8s. I've got a few 8x8s left. I've really gone through this whole collection on this one album. I've used so much, which I actually am really loving, because it's nice to use a lot more than what I normally do. So on a big album like this, I've used loads, absolutely loads. So what did we say? So 7.5 by, let me just double check. So, oh, by 7.75. See if that fits in. Perfect. So let's glue that down. What glue? Oh, it's here. So let's get this glued in. There we go. And then pop that in the middle. I've done it, and I knew I'd put it in the wrong way. It's almost like that, those papers last night that I kept cutting up and getting wrong. There we go. Absolutely perfect. So these are pieces of mount board that I've cut down. It's entirely up to you. You could use some card if you wanted to use card to stick those in. I'm going to glue it on the bottom and the side. So I'm going to use, so there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can just use your pin top glue and go across there. But what I like to do is just on here, I'll tend to pop a strip of glue and then dip into it. And you get it exactly where you need it to be. And you're not getting sort of glue everywhere. So let's pop this in here. Try and get it nice and straight and just lift that up. Press both sides in. So I'm just going to hold that for a second. It's a little wonky that, isn't it? Let me. There we go. Try again. Third time's a charm. This is Chow Bell's page. They're not. Oh yes, someone's saying give Michelle likes. Yes, you can give me lots and lots and lots of likes on both pages if you want. I'm not fussy. So just giving that a second to grab. Marlene, hello. Sorry late, you was in a meeting. See, another really good excuse. So we will let you off, definitely. Let me get a piece of paper and get some of this glue. Just pop it on there and hold it. So it just wasn't sticking enough at that side. So I just grabbed a little bit of glue on there and it just makes it really easy to sort of put something on. So that once that has dried and gone off, it's going to stick beautifully. If you struggle doing it that way with pieces of just strips of mount board, there's quite a few different ways that you can do. So what you could do is, so very crudely, do excuse me, you can create your barriers like that. So popping them in fact, you could pop another one over the top of that way if you wanted to, but sort of doing it like that is very wonky, isn't it? Let me try, at least give you a better visual. So there we go. So things like that, you can do it like that. Because I've already put my pattern paper in and I'm quite happy and sort of confident doing it with the mount board, but you can do it like that, definitely. Lots of different ways to add your separating compartments. So I think now, if you see, it's not really taken to the bottom. So let me give that a press down and allow that to go off just a little bit. And again, here you've got a few options. If it's not quite sticking for you, do this again with this. Or if you're quite confident with your hot glue gun, I don't think mine's quite hot enough yet. Let me try. Oh, it is. Just go in there, hold it straight where you want it to be. And I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of hot glue there. And I'm going to hold it in place just until that hot glue goes off. And I'm going to pop it at the other side as well. And what you do is you sort of using the nib, almost like, you know, when the hubby does that thing round the bath or the sink. What's it called? It has a gun and it's sort of a sealant, isn't it? Almost like I'm doing that. There we go. So let's pop another one in that way. So bringing in my ruler. Let me just see how wide it needs to be. And I'm doing this by eye. I really should measure it, shouldn't I? Let's measure it properly. Oh, there we go. No, just a little bit more. I will always tend to cut it a little bit too big and then trim it down just a little bit at a time, because you can guarantee that if you trim a big piece off, it's going to be too much and you have to start again. So that is, it is in a minute, it's going to glue in there. So again, you can use your hot glue for this, or your tacky glue. So I'm going to do hot glue, just then you don't have to sit and watch me holding it for a while. And then let's pop that in there. Just, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So that's my compartments on the inside of my box. I'm quite happy. You can put as many in there as you absolutely want to. Cork, that's it. Thank you, Rhonda. And then let's trim this down. So a little bit at a time. Let me just that wasn't very straight, was it? It was straight. It's just my eyes. So let's pull that off, and then either where is my quadrant? Oh, it's there. It's where it belongs. That's why I can't find it. It needs to be out in a mess on my desk, and I'll be able to find it better. So now I've got that line there. I should be able to get in there and follow it. Perfect. So there we go. So I want to trim the tiniest little bit off that edge. I want it to go in nice and snug, but not so it's pushing the sides open or apart. So let's try that again. So I'm really quite happy with that. So we're gonna attach a little handle so we can just pop that in and out. You could see, because I've only got sort of the T shape here, that's going to want to do that. So what you could do is, again, you could pop one of the, let me just trim it a little bit so it fits in there. You could pop these just along the side there, and then when you sit this in, it's not going to pop down because you've got that support there. Or you could have popped that all the way across. Again, many options, many choices. Did I think I was going to say, has Betsy gone? Because no, it wasn't Betsy. I'm sorry. Someone asked for a sneaky peek of my Christmas papers, and I said I will grab them, didn't I? So I will grab them in a second. If I do it now, I'm going to get way distracted and I'm not going to know what we're doing. So I'll give you a sneaky peek of those in case you missed it last night. So, right, popping that there, up and over. Very happy with that. Just so, if you're not happy with that, again, you could make your box a tiny little bit smaller. Or again, you can support all your sides with some mount board, entirely up to you. I think sometimes all it really needs is maybe a matten layer of your pattern paper, and it covers it up. So before I glue this in and commit to it all being in there, I'm definitely we're going to matten layer these sides. So it's going to be up and it's going to look like that. So when you're looking at your album from the top, I haven't got the Ciao Bella Dear Santa ones yet. Not yet. So yeah, so from the top, you're going to be seeing that. So we're going to pop a little bit of pattern paper along the top and the other two sides. And then I'm going to pop this on here. We're going to cut this down for on that piece that's going to go in there. So pattern paper. I knew I was looking for something. So my sides are 1 3/4 inch. So that's what we're going to cut these down to. And I want some of that lovely pattern on the top. So 1 3/4. Let's trim that down a tiny little bit. 7.5. So I'm loving that because I've still got that lovely border going around the top. So let's glue this one on and in place. So I've been so busy today. It's really nice to just sit down now and just craft away. You know, when you just have one of those days where you literally are running around like a blue bottle. I won't say what my mum normally says, or what my mum used to say, should I say, bless her. Right, so I'm just going to pop that to the side for now. We're going to measure this. So I've trimmed mine down to 7.5 by 7 3/4. Now, before I glue my paper onto it, I want to make sure that it sits in there lovely, which it does. So then I'm going to trim this down just a little bit more than that. So, oh, actually, let me make sure I'm getting it the right way up. So let's bring this in. And I think, yeah, that's the top, isn't it? Just double checking. So let me just try that again in there. Right. So this way up. So 7.5 by 7 3/4. So I just wanted to make sure that I was getting the 7.5 right. 7.5 by 7 3/4. But I'm just trimming a tiny little bit off both of those sides. And there we go. So I'm really happy with that. So again, I'm going to bring this ribbon in. And there's, again, many, many ways that we can attach this. So I think one of the nicest ways and the easiest ways is just to add a little tag to the side. So before we do that, because this ribbon, I don't know what it's called. I love it, but it's already creased. So can you remember when I said we was going to pop it down the edge of this? Get it the right way. So we're going to do that first because I've already got those creases in there. I don't want to use those on that tab. So I'm going to have it overhanging just a little because it's going to cover up the edge of my inside box because I've done this exactly the same width. So I'm just going to overhang it a little bit. So to start with, I'm going to pop just a little bit of glue on the bottom and I'm going to attach that. And then I'm just going to fold it where I want it, hold it up and add just a little bit of glue. Be careful when you're doing this with your ribbon because obviously the glue and the heat is going to sort of come through. So fold that over wherever it is you want in it. Add a little bit more glue. And because it's ribbon, The glue's gonna go all the way through onto here and stick it down to that as well. And then we're just gonna do this all the way around the edge, as big or as small as you want these pleats. You can make them go a little bit wonky as well. That looks nice. Entirely up to you. Have a bit of a play. But I think this pleated effect works really well with a collection like this. Like I was saying earlier, you can't really add bows and things. You could do if you wanted to. But I just don't. For me personally, I like to do this kind of thing. It's just a lot of fun. If you've got a sewing machine, you sew it sew those pleats into it. I don't, so I obviously do it this way. But it always looks nice as well with the sewn edge and then your thread sort of hanging off. That looks pretty as well. This is normally where I burn myself. I'm being very careful. You like my hot glue gun? I love this hot glue gun, guys. It's my sticks to anything hot glue gun. It's blooming brilliant. It's got a really lovely sort of fine nozzle, so I can get right in there if I want to. And it's not too big, and it's pink. It doesn't look pink for you guys, does it? Definitely need to. I don't know if I need to get some new software or get a new camera. That's not my forte. That's the husband's. He can sort that all out. There we go. And then we're right to the edge. And then just trim it off. Like that. I love creating that kind of effect. Now on mine, you can see the glue coming through. So this is where what I would normally do. I did get it out. Bear with me. I've got another thing of ribbon. So you can put extra ribbon over the top. Where is it? It's here. Or any kind of decorative element over the top if you want. But because it's like I don't know, it's like a muslin, so you're going to be able to see sort of that glue through it. We can just pop this across, which always looks nice as well. Layering your ribbons up, I don't think we think to do that, but layering your ribbons up always look nice. Really, really nice. So what I'm going to do is, again, because I'm using another ribbon that's quite see-through, it's going to cover my glue up, but if I put any other adhesive on it, you're going to see it through. So there's a couple of options. I could glue it underneath, just glue it underneath and leave it free on the top, or we could pop it round and tie a knot here rather than a bow, which is what I'm going to do. So let's just hold that in place and tie a knot. Oh, can't get it. There we go. There we go. So it's covering all that sort of glue up that you could see coming through, but because it's a knot and not a bow, I quite like that. And then what did I say we were going to do? Did I say I was going to do a ribbon enclosure? I did, didn't I? So I'm going to grab 2 pieces of ribbon, roughly, I think roughly about that length. Let's trim that down and cut it in half. So I'm going to add my ribbon to the insides of both of my, to the insides on both sides. So that's going to glue down there. Pop my box on it, and that's going to hold that one in place. I'm going to pop a piece of patterned paper on there, which will hold that one in place. And then I can use it to tie it off. So let me get my red liner. Trim that. If I'm sort of attaching ribbon onto the insides, things like that, I will always add some red liner. So just trying to judge halfway. It's so hard being messy. If I've made a mess, I can't find anything. And if I'm tidy, I can't find anything. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. So I've counted 3.5 up and popped that on. So we're going to do the same for this side as well. And then it also secures this inside. So 1, 2, 3.5. Let's pop that there. And then, oh. So 1, 2, 3.5. There we go. So now when it folds over, they're sort of roughly as near as makes a difference in exactly the same place. We can glue this on now because that's all done. So I'm using tacky glue. Your collal should be absolute, although to be fair, I think it's a personal preference thing when you're just gluing anything to anything. Anything to anything, just your papers. I think it's when it comes to your sort of coated cardstocks that we're a bit more picky about the glues we use. Barbara, hello everyone. Hello. So let's bring this over. Oh, have I gone just a little bit? I have. Let's lift that up. I've just gone a little bit too close to this, which means my box isn't closing. But I managed to get it off before it dried, and we'll try again. Pop that on there. And then lift this up. Ah, perfect. There we go. And then it folds up. Lovely. And that's what you're going to see from the top of your album. So it's looking nice and neat. We need a piece of pattern paper for there. So again, let's find a real nice pattern. Decisions. I quite like those bows. I think we'll go this one. So what did we say? Was 7.5 that way. And so trimming it just a little bit shorter than that, 7 3/4. Trim it a little bit shorter than that. Bring this back in. And that is going to fit, I think, absolutely perfectly. Yes. So again, let's just get this glued down and glued in. So I don't know if you guys saw, but I noticed earlier that Gazzy's doing a live tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. I think 7:30. So if you get a chance, I'll see you there tomorrow night. I haven't gone right to the edge, so let's just add a little bit more glue because I've got that ribbon there as well. It's just going to need a little bit extra burnishing to keep it down. So we'll give it a good burnish. Bring it over. And then when I tie it, I think it's looking lovely. So let's pop it in yes, no, let's not pop it in yet, actually. Let's decorate this piece. So this is going to be our little faux insert, isn't it? So let's get that done before I pop it in. So I said we were going to use some of this to create a little handle, a little tab, something like that. So let's trim that. And we're gonna, so you can, in fact, we could do it both ways. You could have a bit of ribbon on the top and bottom. You could have both sides on the top, and then what it gives me is this little pull tab. So again, let's use some red liner. Make sure that this is nice and stuck in. Let me try and let me make sure that I've got it the right way. 7.5. Yeah. So roughly pop that there. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's exactly in the middle, unless you want it exactly in the middle. There we go. And then I've cut another piece of ribbon to go in the middle. Make sure that this is really nice and well stuck down. There we go. So just trim that extra off, and then we'll pop that on here. And then we're going to glue this one on top. Oh, I went off the side a little bit there. So let me pop some glue on here as well. And then pop this on, wiggle it. There we go. Hey Babs, hey Gaz. Babs, Barbara. Did I miss saying hello to Barbara? If I did, hello. If I didn't, hello again. So let's just straighten that up. I want a little bit wonky. There we go. So now when I bring this in, pop that in there. There we go. Pop that in there. You've got that lovely. So whoever you're gifting this to, or if you're just keeping it yourself, what you've got is you've got that lovely box that closes up like this. You're going to open it up. You can have sort of something stored in there, pictures, anything like that. And then what you've got is a lovely pull tab that allows you to just very easily gain access to whatever it is that you've got stored in the bottom. If you're hiding anything in the bottom. No, you didn't. Oh, well, you got two hellos. That's how bad my memory is. It wasn't that long ago that I must have said hello, and I've said it again. I would never have thought of putting a faux plate in like this, but then I wouldn't have thought of making something awesome like this. Yes, you would, Gaz. Don't put yourself down like that. You're a fantastic crafter. But it's just a little bit it's a little bit of fun. So my original thought when I was creating this was I was going to do two sort of 1-inch boxes. One was going to be a drawer, and one was going to be an opening at the top. But then I just thought to myself, actually, it's just a little bit of fun, isn't it, to just create that little faux, that little hidden compartment in there. So that's what we did. So I might as well leave that in there, hadn't I? Oh, that's what I was saying, isn't it? So pop up the top there. Let's trim this down just a tiny little bit more. On the side there. So just glue that in there, and then that means that when I pop that in, it's going to sit on that shelf, that little support, rather than wanting to tip over, because I've got the support here but none there. So let's get this glued in. Like I was saying earlier, because I'm using this really lovely white mount board, you don't feel like you need to cover it up or anything like that, because even the edges, when they're cut, it's a lovely mount board. So this is the mount board that came with the jigsaw dies with CC. I stocked up on that because it is a really lovely mount board. I'm doing that thing again where I keep repeating one particular word. I mean, how many times can one person say mount board in 1 minute? It's almost like it's a challenge, isn't it? So there we go. And again, afterwards, I will decorate this all up with like little toppers and things like that. But for now, quite happy with how that is. So let's tie this. And because it's like a Hessian, it's quite rough. I can get away with not having to put a full on bow in that if I don't. So let's trim those edges down, and then we'll bring in the album. So what I was thinking, I've got something on this piece here, and then I've got all my album pages here, and I'm going to have nothing there. I'll probably just pop some toppers, a bit of paper ephemera, but nothing necessarily with a lot of height. So something there, nothing on that one. So I thought we'd pop it onto this one, and then it sort of flows through. So we're going to glue this here. So again, I'm going to lift my side up to make sure that I'm happy with it fitting lovely, and it does. So we're going to turn it over, and I'm definitely going to be using either your hot glue, if you're confident with getting it in place quick enough, or just your tacky glue. So just all the way around those edges. And then let's pop it in. So give it a nice good burnish. Tuck that in there so I can press it down. In fact, I could open it, stick my hand in. So can't open it now because it's that Hessian, it just sticks to itself and doesn't want to open at all. There we go. So let's stand it up. Make sure that we're happy with how it looks at the top. I'm just having a quick look to make sure that I've got it nice and equal and even. And then we'll finish giving it a good burnish. Do you remember, Gaz, when Michelle made a masterboard? Don't remind me of that. I think sometimes I'm so, because I forget words so easily, my memory's terrible at the minute, which is very much why the doctor thinks that it's menopause. But I mean, I am, well, or peri. I am 46. So sometimes I think I learn a new word and it's almost like I have to say it a lot so I don't forget it. So there we go. Just took your little tab in. I'm really happy with that. Really happy. So let's tie that. I'm going to trim those down a little bit more because they are poking out just a bit much. So let's trim that there. and trim that one there. And I can bring that over. And now when I stand it up, it's nice and just need to push that down a bit. Yeah, nice and neat and even. But the thing is, if you're not necessarily going to be looking at it from the top when it's on your shelf. When you get it out and look at it, you're looking at it from the top. If you don't like the fact that both of your sides look different, you could add something over the top very easily if you wanted to cover it up. But I like to see all the pages. I like to see all the different things that are in there. I love to see what I will do is I will go through my album. I will add more of the matching ribbon, so you've got that texture. I love the textures. I love all the different ribbons. And then if I bring it over, I've added some glitter paste there with the stencil, and then you've got the beautiful deluxe papers that come with it. So mixing and matching all your papers, all your paper textures and your ribbons, I think I really love it. It's almost like junk journaling when you're adding all those different textures and stuff, but it just looks so much nicer. I think it just really, it makes it tactile, doesn't it, where we all want to we want to open it, we want to see what's next, we want to discover what it is that's in here. So I'm going to pop that over there for now, because I think we've got time to do a page. What time did I start? 6:30, 7:30. Oh, yes, we have. So should we add an extra page in here? Because I do have a couple all ready to go. Because the only other thing really that I'm going to do with this box is I'm going to decorate it up. So if I bring in, that throughout all these collections, you've got lots of these lovely little cuttable elements. So really that's what I would have added. Let me just bring in, I'm trying to keep it all together. I'm trying, I'm trying to stay nice and neat. Menopause fog is real. I had it terribly when I was perimenopausal. It is so bad that I can get halfway through a sentence, either talking to you or my husband, and I stop. And I know what the word is that I want to say, but my brain cannot, it just cannot compute. It literally, computer says no. In fact, if you remember when I used to be on CTV and I used to say and I used to tap what it was I was trying to think of, and then either one of you guys or Ben would say paperclip or glue, and I'm like, yes, that's it. So as easy as those words should be, they don't really come easy to me. So let's get this out, because these are where all my bits are. Here we go, these. So I think, so this is my middle spine, which is sort of 4 inches wide. And I think that one is going to sit in there beautifully. Now, I know that my camera isn't picking up those colours very well at all, but they are such beautiful oranges. They really, really are. So I'm definitely going to pop that there, because I don't have to have any height on it at all. But what I can do is I can make sure that I don't glue the top. So I can still put something in there, a tag or a picture or something. Michelle, it's for you. Hello. Uh, Welcome. You're a little late. Even I'm not normally this late, but we will let you off. And then again, so all these we're going to be popping on here. Wherever you go with all your heart. Even on the front of here, you can just glue that one down the left and across the bottom, and you can then still include some sort of tag, some picture, without adding any extra height to this. A little acetate pouch on top. Yes, absolutely. Brilliant. Acetate vellum's another nice one, because it softens everything up. I do like my little pleated ribbon. It's definitely one of my favourite things to do. the crab journal, so that could go on there if you wanted it to. So many different sentiments and different pictures going throughout this. So let me we will close this up. I'll pop it to the side and then I'll get my bits out. So it looks lovely. So I have glued it nearer to this side because I've got all that ribbon hanging over the edge and I don't want it to all get folded over and squashed. So let's pop that there and I will bring in one of these pages. So let's bring in this one. No, let's bring in this one. I like them both, but I like this one. So let me just take these off and then I'll talk you through the measurements and everything like that. Oh, stuck. I don't need that. So this is, my pages are already in there, but this is the size of my pages in my album, and they're all 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. I've got this textured cardstock in different sort of oranges and sort of honeys, and I've gone down just that 1/8 of an inch, and it gives me that really thin border. So when I pop it into the book, this is what I'm going to pop in there. And then I've got 4 pieces of card here, and I've deliberately picked 4 different shades. So I've got that lovely ombre effect going on. And they are all 6 inches by 4 inches. And I've just scored at 1 inch there. So then what we're going to do is you can either glue this flap onto the top of your page, or you can glue it under. It depends. It's entirely up to you, because when we've glued them all in, we're going to add some pattern paper over the top that's going to cover all these tabs anyway. I'm just going to tuck it under now, for now, just to show you where we're going. So this is going to go on here, and we're going to glue it down. And then following sort of the shades, this one's going to go to this side. And then we're going to have this one glued there. And then this last one on this side. So you've got one on each side. It's going to pop on there. And then I've got this piece. So this is a 5 by 5. And again, I've got some mats and layers for it. This is going to sit in the middle. And we're going to add a couple of magnets. And then what you get is you get this lovely page where you can take that off and you open all 4 of your little flaps up, and then you've got whatever it is in the center. So let's do this page now. So it really doesn't matter if you want it over there or buttered up. I think I'm just going to am I going to butt it up? You see, I can't even make the simplest of decisions. If you've got it glued underneath, then it means that when you have got a pattern paper on there, or if you wanted to put vellum on there or something like that, you're not seeing all those. So I suppose it depends on what kind of paper that you are using. So I think I'm gonna glue on this side, and I'm gonna stick it just to the edge there. So let me get this one. So fold over. I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to pop it right up to the edge on both sides. You could leave a little border if you wanted. Again, that adds that extra interest, doesn't it? Entirely up to you. So that one's going to go there, and then this one's going to go across that way. I'm going to use a couple of magnets for my closure. You could use ribbon. You could use those Velcro dots if you wanted to. Again, it's all about what design, what finish you're looking for. Try not crease yours like I just did. So the magnets that I've got are really strong ones. They're those neodymium, which means they're really thin but really strong. So even though it's going to be right in the middle on this back piece, so even though it's going to be there and I've got all these layers over the top, it's still going to attach because they're really very strong. Attaching I nearly glued one of my flannel shut. I'm sorry, when I say things like that, I can just hear Gaz in my ear, sort of chuckling away at something. So there you go. You can see how I've attached those. We're going to pick a piece of pattern paper for in there. Did I pick one? I didn't. So let's pick one now. I think it's harder trying to be neat than it is just being a bit of a mess, because I think I know where I am better when everything's a mess. So I'm just looking for my last few remaining 8x8 pieces. I don't know where they've gone. Into there. Oh, here they are. There we go. I think these are my last. In fact, that's the front, again, which I'm going to cut up. But I think this is my last remaining piece. So I'm going to pop that in there. But before I do, I'm going to grab my magnets. So you can see I've got a couple of sizes. Those are just, I don't use them anymore. In fact, I use them on the fridge when one of the kids brings a reporter home from school or something, because they're just too thick. Unless you wanting to, sink it into your mount board, then I don't use those at all. So let's try and find the middle. And I need my red liner for this. There we go. Find my scissors somewhere. Pop that down. There they are. I think it takes me longer to tidy up after I've done a live than it actually is when I'm on a live. So let's pop that. We go. So just using my glass mat to judge the middle, but also following these because they're all sort of roughly half of this. You can sort of get a real good idea. So if I close all these up and then bring this in, so this is going to be my centre, and I'm going to pour that on the top, and this one's going to go underneath because I'm going to be removing this, so I want it to look nice on both sides. So can you see, even through 4 of those pieces of card, you can see it's still going to attach. And if I pop, because I'm going to pop it in between those two, so I'm going to glue it in between those two, so you can see that it sticks really, really well. So before I go on with that, over there, they stuck to my my pokey tool. The post live tide, it is real. It really is, guys. The thing is, you don't want to be tidying up as you're going through because you're live and people don't want to see you tidying up. So let's trim this down to fit in here. So this particular piece is, what did I say? 7 3/4. So let's go to 7.5 by 7.5. And I'm just roughly judging these. It's entirely up to you how much of a border you give yourself around these. I like that really thin border. I think it just looks lovely. So let me use my bigger glue. And you do tidy it, yeah, I know. I've seen you guys, you tidy. You can't help it though, can you? I am very untidy. So it doesn't bother me sort of being surrounded by mess. I'm a very untidy crafter. But yes, I have noticed that you tidy as you go. I can't do it. With all the will in the world, I cannot tidy as I go. It just does it doesn't work. It doesn't happen. I do try. I need like an assistant. So when I'm crafting away, I've got someone here tidying up. And no one say ask a child because that's never going to happen as well. And then I think I've got 4 pieces cut, so we're going to pop those on as well. Now I've left mine sort of quite neutral because again, as I was saying, you've got all those, I don't know where they've gone, all those tabs and things. So I'm going to attach those onto mine. So I'll use this one. I really should be using my collal. I don't suppose it matters. So I'm gluing mine flat, but again, and I know I keep saying but again, I always think before you glue something down, can I pop a pocket on there? And you absolutely can. You can pop a pocket on there. Oh, I've just reminded myself of that advert. What with all the peas? You got to pick a pocket. No, it's a song, isn't it? You got to pick a pocket or two, isn't it? From what's that from? It's the Artful Dodger or something that sings that. You have to pick a pocket. I won't sing to you. Oliver, that's it. I knew it was something. Right, where's my 1, 2, 3? Those two for that. I do have another piece somewhere. Is that it? It is. Yes, Oliver. I should know. My son's obsessed with musicals, things like that. Although I must admit, I'm a convert. I've been to see quite a few musicals with him this past year or two. So we went to see, my husband took him to see Hamilton. I must admit, I didn't fancy that one. So my husband took him to see that. I took him to see Wicked. Oh my God, Wicked is wicked. Oh, I thought it was Fagin. I think it is. It's Fagin who sings that, isn't it? Um, so if you haven't seen Wicked, it is absolutely like the most amazing musical I've been to see. So we just went to see Wicked. We went to see Six. Oh my God, Six was amazing. I haven't seen Back to the Future. It's definitely on my list of ones that I want to see. Definitely. So now, where's my magnet? I need to make sure that it's still sticking through all of that. So let me pop that, and it still is. So I'm really happy with that. So let me just pop that to the side again because it needs to go So we're going to have this piece, then that pattern plain piece, and then that's going to be a piece on top. So I know that I want to glue it to this piece or that piece, whichever, it doesn't really matter. So making sure it's right in the middle. So I really do want to measure this one because when I pop this on here, I really want it to be centered. So let's measure this again. I'm just going to use my scoreboard. I'm going to bring this one in to measure that way. And I can roughly, well, there we go. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring this back in. I'm going to attach that on there. It needs to go in the middle, doesn't it? So let's attach. Really should have measured that one, to be fair. But there we go. As long as one of them's measured and sat right in the middle, I'm not too fussed. Actually, we will do it that way because I'm going to stick it down and it's going to go wrong. So this particular piece is the one I'm going to red liner. So again, let's use my scoreboard. Glass, isn't it? Not a scoreboard. Bring that in. And there we go. Right. Pop that on there. Now I need to be very careful because I've got that red liner. And I don't want to stick it to any of that. So just double check that when it goes back down, we're in the middle. I mean, it's going to spin, but I think that's perfectly centered. I'm really happy with that. Do you know, that's exactly what I was going to ask Gaz, if there was any good theatres and things like that on the Isle of Wight. But I went with, so what else did I go to see? I went to see, that 80s film, what's it called? Heathers. That is, again, that's another amazing musical. Really enjoyed that one. In fact, I still play the music from that now. I love it. But my all-time favourite musical has got to be the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Hands down. I mean, Tim Curry, obviously in the film, was just astounding. Did you see what I did there? Let me just make sure that's centered. So how does that even work? There you go. So let's get the paper on top of this one. So yeah, my mum, of all people, introduced me to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was just like, I had it on VCR. That's how long ago we're talking about. That's just how old I am. The Rocky Horror Picture. Have you never seen it, Caroline? Oh, see, I've seen Rocky Horror Live as well. And it is amazing. It really is. So that has gone a little loose, hasn't it? So what I could have done is attached it to one of these. So depending on how you fold in these, what I could have done is maybe attached it to the back of one. The back of one that's quite, so maybe that one there. And then that would have stayed a lot better. But it doesn't matter. It's all a learning curve, isn't it? We did say this was from sort of start to finish. Let me just, yeah, it's a little loose, but it doesn't matter. So we've got that. We're going to be able to remove that. We've got our toppers that we're going to be popping on. Now, because I've got my magnet right in the middle, I'm going to be careful of where I put my toppers. Michelle, is time fleeting? It really is. Um, how does it go? Time is fleeting. Madness takes control. I do like to change all the words as well, so that might was I putting that on upside down? I was, wasn't I? I was trying to attach it that way, that's why it wasn't working. There you go, look. So it is strong enough. Oh, me and putting things on upside down and back to front these past 2 days. But as I was saying, when I'm popping these on, I'm going to make sure that wherever I pop them, it's not, again, adding extra over that middle bit. So we are going to go to corners, sort of having them off, because then have I done it again? No, I haven't. So when we've got those on there, it's not adding any more extra, because if you think, look how many layers that magnet is going through, it's doing amazingly well. Have I done it again? How can I not remember which side it's on? It's that side. There we go. It's that side, look. So let's pop this in. So just bringing this in and opening this side up. Listen closely, not for very much longer. So Jason Donovan was doing it in Australia. There was an Australian run, and Jason Donovan was Frankenfurter. So there you go. So if I lift that up, you can see that I've still got just that little white border all around the edges that I sort of is going to follow through my album. So I am going to swap to this, because I did notice that this particular one has warped the tiniest little bit. I put just a little bit too much tacky glue on. So remember that your tacky glue is water-based. So you need to be really frugal with that. This is alcohol-based, so it is so much better. It's not going to warp your paper in any way, shape or form. So any more recommendations for musicals? You see, now I didn't think I was going to like 6, because it's very much just singing all the way through. But it has got to be one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It is blooming brilliant. Real, real good. Um, I'll tell you what I do want to see. I wanted to see that one based on Cher. I don't know what it was called. I don't know if it was just the Cher musical, but there was like 4 different Chers in it. I've put that on wonky. Come here. Another benefit of that Coral glue, you can just pull it off and stick it down. Because I'd put it on sideways. My sentiment was obviously sideways on. There we go. So we fold these up entirely whatever way you want. And then I'm going to put it on the wrong way again. No, I'm not, look. And then I've got my lovely centre bit. I had aimed for that to be the top, but I obviously stuck it all down wrong. So popping that in the middle. I'm quite happy with that. So that is our third page. So 1, 2, this big sort of extending one, and then I've got that on the front. So if we close that up and bring that round, so you can see the more that we fill our pages, let me just need sticking down a little, the more these will all straighten off. Because I've got this big bulky thing here, it was sort of pushing these to the side, but the more that you fill all of your pages, they're all going to straighten up and eventually they're all going to be nice and straight. But I'm quite happy with that, with how that's coming on. So let's open that up, that lovely box. So I'm going to bring some of this ribbon to these pages when I decorate it, but I will decorate that a little bit later. Madness. I'm still reading all the Time Warp and Rocky Horror thingies. Gaz, you literally listen, Chloe. You're literally singing the song. Caroline, I really wish I had the kind of brain that could come up with all of these amazing ideas for paper crafts. I mean, you do, but I think it's a case of when you say to yourself that I wish I could do it, I think you straight away put a bit of a block on. So I know I always say before you glue anything down, have a look. Is there part of it that could become a flap? Is there part of it that, if you didn't glue all four sides down, it can become something different? So and again, I think there's so many different tutorials online. So I was saying, I think last week, there's a woman called Cal Summers. Now, unfortunately, she's passed, but her husband's kept her page open, and she was on the design team for people like Graphic 45 and things like that. And she's got lots of albums on her page where it's an album that you can follow from start to finish. Whereas with me, every single album I do is going to be something a little bit different. But with Cal, they've all got particular names. So like, the Summer Breeze album. I mean, there's not one called that, but I just couldn't think of anything. And you can download the PDF and you can literally follow it. And then when you've done a few of them, then that's when you think to yourself, actually, that could be adapted into a different way. Or if I didn't glue that particular bit down, you've got a different idea. So for instance, this one that I did last week, when I was creating, sort of coming up with the idea, I literally created myself just a little envelope. So just a little envelope with a little sort of expanding bottom and top. And then I popped it on the page and I thought, that's lovely, we're going to glue it in. And then I thought to myself, actually, if I just if I add a little strip, a little tab at the bottom, I can have it where it opens up. And I thought, oh, that'll be nice. And then obviously I thought to myself, but then, we'll add a piece of pattern paper behind it. And then you think to yourself, well, when I add that piece of pattern paper, which bit can I not glue down where, again, I can add an extra pocket? So that's what I did to the top bit. And the same for the inside. I opened this up and I could have just added something in there, but it's all about thinking about different folds, different things that will pull out. And again, once you've done a few, straight away you're gonna think, actually, I'm gonna adapt this, I'm gonna do this, and things like that. Um, That's why you forget words, because you have a crafty brain. See, that's what I say to my husband all the time. I've got so many weird diagrams and things and ideas in my brain. There's no more room for words. I say it all the time. I really do. I started making this one you had, Michelle, with paper from my stash. Fabulous. And again, you might think, oh, that's just a pocket. So these two pockets that I've added here, again, So let me find a piece of paper so I can just quickly show you. So these pockets here is just as simple as, so just folding those two in half, but then obviously on each side you've got, let me pop it together really quick for you, just so you can see how easy it was to put those pockets together. So let me just bring in my scoreboard. On each side, just roughly at 1/2 inch. And bring that out. So I'll score both those sides. Your ideas are fantastic. Fantastic. Love your makes. Thank you. Unless you were saying that to someone else, then I apologise. So you can see I've got my score halfway. I've scored 1/2 inch at both sides, and then all you need to do is trim one of the sides all the way up to the middle away, and do the same on the other side. If you find it easy with your craft knife or your scoreboard, do it that way. There we go. Just trim that little wedge away, and then you end up with this. Fold those in, tuck that over, and you've got your little pocket on there. I used my notch maker. I've got a little punch where you just pop that in, and it gives you a little notch at the top. And then for the next pocket, I just popped my matting layer on the front, and I thought to myself, actually, if I just glue down there, across there, and up there, I've got those two pockets. So it's about, I think it's just taking a second before you glue something down to think, do I need to glue it down, or can I create something else with it? So you can see I've got, so that's now a pocket, and that one is that one and that one. So that's really nice and easy and simple to sort of put together. All you, Michelle, thank you very much. Did someone get a parcel? That's why we forget words, you know. I just see Mr. Amazon and think, oh, have I missed something? So that is me for this week. Next week, I mean, I'll decorate that up. It's literally just, I'm going to add some of those little elements on there, just some little toppers, but it opens up. And again, if you're gifting this, I'd be popping photos in here, or instead of that pattern piece of paper, adding a photo on there. There's just so many options, isn't there? So many options, and pop that back on there. And I'm going to put a little topper on the top of that as well. So those corners that I showed you earlier that I created, so just got some pieces of card, 1.5 inch by 1, and I just cut them obviously down the diagonal, and it created some lovely little corners. And then I did the same on this page, but with that deluxe paper. I mean, I don't anymore, but if you've got some dies and stuff in your stash, those decorative ones that you can be using on the corners. Mine that I've got are very pretty and sort of flowery, and didn't work for this, which is why I just cut my own. I think it really works with this collection. On the back of there, I'm going to do exactly the same. I always like to add pockets to the back of my pages, so that's what I'll do to that one, and then this one. So literally next week, all we've got to do is add whatever page it is that I'm going to do on there. We'll add the pockets to the back of here and here, and then I think we're done. We probably might get time to finish decorating the front of this, because if you remember, I've got some of that muslin cloth that I just sprayed some of my inks on here. I think I actually put some of my distress oxides down, added a bit of water and just dipped this in it. And then we're going to just we're going to decorate around the front. I'm going to get some of my little metal embellishments out, and we're going to just decorate the front up. On the side, or the spine on the outside, all I did was I got that, I think it's about 3 inches by 7 or 6.5 piece of mount board. We just covered it with some lovely paper, and then you've got that lovely spine. So when it's sat on your shelf and you've got whatever it is that you were going to be writing on there, or, die cutting, popping it on there. So I think it's come together quite nice. I'm quite happy with how it's going. Um, So, putting ultra thin magnets, yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you remember, but that's what we did. Well, we didn't, but on here we sunk magnets in. So do you remember? Because I had to add that extra slice of paper on the top. So you can always sink your magnets so they're not showing. Mr. Amazon, that's what I was wondering. Has someone ordered something from Amazon? I need to order some magnets. Yes, Mr. Amazon. I see. That is where I got mine from. I got them from Amazon, and they're just neodymium, because they're ultra strong and ultra thin. Like Caroline said, putting ultra thin magnets. um, Fantastic show, Michelle. Got to fly as my son is here. Oh, well, I'll let you off then. Go on then. I'll see you tomorrow night for Gaz's live. Uh, so Gaz is going live tomorrow night. So it's him who's going to be talking your ear off instead of me. But I will be joining. I've got my alarm set so I don't forget. So yeah, so what are you doing tomorrow night, Gaz? Anything exciting? But yes, so it might be next. When am I? So I'm on Create and Craft on Wednesday. So next Thursday, I should still be doing my live. If it does change to maybe the Friday, I will let you know, but I don't think it will be. So next Thursday on my YouTube, the final part where we sort of put in that last page in, maybe the backs of the couple of pages and decorating the front, and I think we're all done. Guys, I'm going to be the lovely craft kit released by our very own Michelle. Well, thank you very much, Gaz. Yes, so I always finish my live by asking you all what you've had for tea or what you're having for tea, because I finish my live and then I grab something to eat. So I'm not sure what I want. And then you all give me ideas as what to have for my tea. So Diane, looking forward to that, Gaz. I'm looking forward to seeing what Gaz does with that. Domino's pizza. Oh, pizza. I do love a pizza. Pineapple or no pineapple, though? That's always the question, isn't it? No pineapple for me. Just no. Pineapple and fruit and food. I just no. I know fruit is a food, but you know what I mean. So I will let you all go. Thank you again so much for being here with me tonight. Pepperoni all the way. Yes. Pepperoni pizza. You can't beat it, definitely. Can you tell it's payday? None today, but I've been known to dabble in pineapple and peas. Having grilled mix fresh veggies. Oh, salmon for him, cod for me. It would be cod for me, definitely. Oh, that sounds nice. Ben, my husband, he would be having salmon for sure. I don't do fish. I can eat cod, but and tuna. Can I eat a tuna sandwich? But I've never had a tuna steak. You know when they like have a real piece of tuna. Never had that. I don't know. I do like a piece of cod. Sausage only on pizza. Spicy sausage or normal sausage? Um, my husband and my two eldest, so Joseph, and Oliver, they like spicy sausage. It makes my it makes my lips tingle. I don't do spice at all. I'm very delicate. Uh, Gas, you'll take any sausage at this point. What can I say to that? Oh, that's hilarious. How did I know that you would say something like that? Oh dear. Oh, my eyes are watering. Guys, that's one of the many reasons that we all love you very much. You did forget to mention you had a few ciders with your dinner. Spicy sausage, grew up in Iowa. Oh, nice. I like the idea of spice and things like that. It just no, my body doesn't agree, unfortunately. I'll never look at a sausage pizza the same way again. Thank you, Gaz. Right. I will let you all get off now. I've got plenty of ideas for my tea. Um, you're welcome. Thanks, Gaz. Um, yes, no spicy sausage though. I think it might have to be. Oh, I think I might have some cod and some veggies. That sounds delicious. Oh, when I was little, my mum used to do cod in is it parsley sauce? And I used to have garden peas with it. That was nice. Oh, I haven't had that for a long time. Right. So, on Gaz's lovely note, we will end it there. Butter sauce nicer. Yes. Butter sauce. See, my husband's a Londoner, so he likes pie and mash, and I think that's with the parsley sauce, isn't it? Um, but yeah, I think pie and mash with anything really. I do like pie and mash. Iowa is known for its corn and hogs. Oh, you see, do you know, that's what I would love to visit, like every state in America and just have all the different foods, that that particular state is known for. That sounds like an ideal holiday to me. And the bonus is that every state that I visit, I could visit one of you guys. Um, corn and hogs. See, that sounds nice as well. I'm not even 100% sure corn and hogs is. I'm going to be Googling it in a minute, but it all sounds delicious. So, thank you very much. Next week, my page, but lots of updates and tutorials and stuff coming through the week. If you've got any questions, if you've got anything that you'd like to see on that final page, if you've seen an album and someone had a particular page in there and you thought, oh, I'd love to know how to do that, let me know, send me pictures. Happy to have a go at anything really. But for now, I think that's only about the ninth or 10th time that I've said it, so, I've still got a few more times to say goodbye. Thank you, Michelle, for an awesome live. Thank you, all of you, for joining me so much, and I will see some of you probably tomorrow night on Gaz's live, and then next week, hopefully, on mine. So I will see you all later. Bye-bye.